Have you ever stopped to think about what happens to your money as soon as it enters the bank? Many people believe that the money saved is safe, resting in some kind of vault, waiting to be used. But the truth is quite different. The bank doesn't leave your money sitting there, not even for a minute. When you deposit, it takes that same money and lends it to someone else. It could be someone buying a car, paying for a trip, or even a businessman who needs capital to run the business. But here's the detail. The bank charges extremely high interest from those who borrow. And guess how much it gives back to you who left the money there? Almost nothing. Sometimes it doesn't even cover inflation. It's as if you handed over a racehorse to someone, they won prizes with it, but then came back and gave you just a handful of hay in return. You're left with the illusion of security, but in practice you're losing purchasing power day after day. And that's exactly what the rich understand and avoid. They know it doesn't make sense to leave money resting in the bank. Instead, they make money run for them, investing in places where interest and returns work in their favor, not against them. That's the first big lesson. The bank isn't there to make you rich, but rather to enrich itself. And if you don't understand this game, you'll spend your whole life financing other people's profits while believing you're being prudent. While many people believe that saving is the key to financial success, the rich understand something even more powerful. Money shouldn't just be saved, it should be put to work. Think with me. If you work 8-10 hours a day to earn your salary, your money should also be doing the same. Working for you 24 hours, 7 days a week, without complaining, without asking for vacation, and without getting tired. But when it sits idle in the account, it slowly loses value, eroded by inflation. Now, when you decide to invest, the game changes. Imagine that instead of leaving $1,000 sitting there, you invest in an investment fund, in bonds that pay interest above inflation, or even in shares of solid companies that distribute dividends. Each month, these assets begin to generate more money, money that comes in without you needing to spend more hours of work. That's exactly what Robert Kiyosaki means. The rich don't depend only on their physical or mental effort. They create armies of small, invisible soldiers. Each dollar invested becomes a tireless worker, multiplying in silence. While many still think, I need to save so I don't run out, the rich think, I need to invest so there's surplus. This change in mindset makes all the difference, because saving protects, but investing expands. And it's this expansion that leads to wealth. Many people say, I don't have time for anything. But is that really true? Let's do a simple calculation. The day has 24 hours. If you work 8 hours and sleep another 8, there are 8 whole hours left. What do you do with that time? It's at this point that one of the biggest secrets of the rich lies. They understand that time is the most valuable asset that exists. Lost money you can recover, lost time never comes back. Now think, if you get home and spend all those hours just watching television, scrolling through your phone aimlessly, or complaining about life, you're throwing away a resource that could completely change your future. On the other hand, if you use part of that time to learn a new skill, create a small online business, provide an extra service, or even develop a side project, that effort will transform into new sources of income. And here's the detail. You don't need to quit your job to start. Most great fortunes started this way, with small projects done in spare time. It was by taking advantage of these hidden 8 hours of the day that many ordinary people created millionaire businesses. It's like planting a seed every day. Maybe at first it seems small, almost insignificant, but over time this habit builds strong roots. When you realize it, you already have a tree bearing fruit, and those fruits can indeed be your financial freedom. The lesson is clear: don't waste your extra hours. Free time can be the bridge between your reality today and the life you've always dreamed of. Think for a moment. What is the financial vocabulary you use most in daily life? For many people, the most common words are salary, bill to pay, credit card installment, or payment slip. This is the language of survival, a language that keeps people trapped in a cycle of work and consumption. Now, compare that to the way the rich talk. They don't talk about salary because they know that depending only on it is like walking on a narrow road. Instead, they talk about assets, things that put money in your pocket. They talk about dividends, which are parts of company profits distributed to shareholders. They talk about leverage, which is using resources intelligently to multiply gains. And they talk about passive income, the money that comes in even when you're sleeping. It's like learning a new language. Imagine someone who only knows how to say hi and bye trying to communicate in another country. They'll be limited, stuck with the same simple phrases, unable to advance. The same happens with those who only understand salary and debts. That person never accesses the conversations where wealth is really born. That's why learning the language of money is like receiving a secret map. You begin to see opportunities that previously went unnoticed. Where others only see bills, you begin to see investments. Where many talk about buying cheaper, you begin to talk about buying assets that appreciate. The big key here is simple. Whoever changes the way they speak also changes the way they think. And when you think like the rich, you naturally begin to make decisions that bring you closer to financial freedom. True financial freedom isn't in the size of your house, the car you drive, or the salary that comes in every month. It's in the control of your money and the ability to choose how you want to live without depending on anyone. Imagine being able to wake up in the morning and decide whether you're going to work, travel, study something new, or dedicate time to a project you love, all without worrying about bills squeezing your wallet. This is only possible when you have assets that put money in your pocket regularly. For example, a rented property generates cash flow every month. That money comes in even if you're traveling or resting. The house you live in, however comfortable it may be, constantly consumes resources, taxes, maintenance, bills, interest. It doesn't pay for your choices. It requires continuous effort to maintain. Financial freedom is precisely this difference. It's not having a lot of money, but having enough money working for you. It's waking up and knowing that you can choose and not being forced to accept each day of work just to pay the bills. And it's exactly this mindset that separates those who build wealth from those who remain always running after the next payment. When you begin to prioritize assets that generate income and reduce liabilities that drain money, each decision in your life becomes a conscious and free choice, not a financial obligation. The lesson is clear. Don't confuse comfort with freedom. True financial freedom comes from creating sources of income that pay for your choices, allowing you to live on your own terms. Many people still live in what Kiyosaki calls the rat race. Wake up early, work 8, 10, 12 hours, receive the salary, and at the end of the month realize that almost nothing is left. It's a tiring and endless cycle because all effort depends exclusively on the time you put in. Trading hours for money is a silent trap. You'll never be truly free while trapped in it. The solution: build systems that generate income. And here, we're not just talking about opening a traditional business with employees and a physical store. We're talking about creating mechanisms, processes, and assets that work even when you're not present. For example, an online course or ebook that you create once and sell multiple times. An app that helps people and charges a monthly subscription. A network of rented properties or digital services that deliver continuous value. All of these are systems. They work for you, multiply your effort, and create passive income. That is, money that comes in without you needing to be physically present. The magic happens when you understand that true capital isn't just in the money you have, but in the ability to create structures that generate money constantly. It's like building a machine. At first you put in effort, learn, invest, adjust. But afterward, this machine works on its own, bringing fruit continuously. And here's the beauty of the system. It doesn't age with you. You may have started small, with just an idea or side project, but over time, these systems grow, multiply, and ensure that even if you take a 6-month vacation or decide to change your life, your income continues flowing. This is the mindset that transforms workers into long-term entrepreneurs and ordinary people into millionaires. Stop depending on your own continuous effort and create systems that work for you. Kiyosaki reminds us that building wealth isn't just about earning more, it's about creating intelligent structures that allow money to work for you, not you for it. This is the true path to financial freedom. When most people hear the word debt, the first thought is something bad, dangerous, that needs to be avoided at all costs. But Robert Kiyosaki shows us that not all debt is an enemy of wealth. There is a fundamental difference between good debt and bad debt, and understanding this can completely change your financial life. Bad debt is easy to recognize. It's the one that takes money out of your pocket without generating any return. It's the type of debt you accumulate buying things that depreciate, that expensive car that loses value month after month, credit cards with high interest, installment purchases that only increase financial pressure. The more you pay, the more you realize you're not building wealth, you're just maintaining the illusion of consumption. On the other hand, good debt is a powerful tool that works in your favor. It's used to acquire assets that generate more money than the cost of the debt. For example, buying a property to rent, where the rent covers the mortgage and still leaves profit. Financing equipment or courses that increase your ability to generate income. Investing in a business that, as it grows, generates enough cash flow to pay the debt and still produce profit. The secret is using other people's money, or the banks, strategically as a lever to multiply your wealth instead of going into debt to consume. Many people are afraid of debt and avoid any kind of risk, but the rich think differently. They calculate, plan, and take on intelligent debts because they know the return can be exponential. It's a matter of mindset. It's not the debt that matters, it's what you do with it. Kiyosaki reinforces that mastering this distinction is essential to advance toward wealth. Those who understand the difference between good and bad debt manage to make decisions that increase their assets instead of creating only liabilities. It's a tool that, when used intelligently, can accelerate your path to financial freedom in a safe and consistent way. Have you noticed that even working 8 hours and sleeping another 8, there's still a huge chunk of your day that many people simply let pass? There are 8 hours that can decide your financial future. While some spend that time just watching TV, scrolling through social media, or letting the day slip away, people who think like the rich see these hours as an invisible gold mine. It's during this period that you can start learning something new, create a side project, or develop an extra source of income. For example, create a digital business that can grow even if you continue working at your current job. Develop valuable skills like digital marketing, design, programming, or languages that can open doors to better paying jobs. Invest in a personal project like writing a book, launching a course, or offering consulting in something you master. The key is understanding that free time is an asset, and like any asset, it needs to be well used. Every hour you invest in your personal and financial growth is a seed planted for the future. At first, it may seem like little, an hour here, 2 hours there, but over weeks and months, these small actions accumulate, creating real opportunities for income and eventually financial freedom. The big secret is to act consistently. Don't wait to have time left over to start. Time is limited, and the rich understand that every minute well invested today is a step ahead for tomorrow. Most people only talk about salary, bills, and installments, as if money was something that comes in and goes out without the possibility of growing. But the rich talk differently. They talk about assets, dividends, leverage, and passive income. Knowing this language is like learning to truly read and write in the financial world. Without it, you're trying to navigate in a foreign country without understanding anything written on the signs. When you learn to speak the language of money, you begin to see opportunities that previously went unnoticed. Assets, everything that puts money in your pocket, whether it's a rented property, stocks that pay dividends, or a business that runs on its own. Dividends, money that companies distribute to their investors even when you're not working. Leverage, using resources strategically to multiply gains, whether using intelligent loans or partnerships that enhance your results. Passive income, money that comes in without you needing to trade time for effort directly. Learning this language changes the way you think. Instead of worrying only about earning more salary, you begin to ask, how can I create something that pays me every month, even when I'm not working? And here's the most powerful point. Those who speak this language don't depend on continuous work. They see money as a tool, not as an end. Every financial decision becomes strategic. Every investment becomes a step toward freedom and wealth. The lesson is clear. It's not enough to have money. You need to understand how it works and how to make it work for you. It's this knowledge that separates those who remain trapped in traditional financial life from those who truly build wealth. Most people view debt as a burden, a prison that takes away freedom and generates fear. But Robert Kiyosaki shows us that the way you view debt defines whether it will be your enemy or your ally. Bad debt is easy to recognize. It's the one that consumes your money and doesn't come back. Credit card installments, cars that lose value, loans for immediate consumption. All of this drains energy, limits your choices, and keeps you trapped in the cycle of surviving only on salary. Good debt, on the other hand, is a powerful tool. It can accelerate your path to wealth when used to acquire assets that produce income. It's the type of debt that puts money in your pocket every month, that does the work for you, that transforms risk into opportunity. Imagine the power of this. You take a strategic loan, invest in something that grows, and while others only pay bills, you see your assets multiply, building freedom and financial security. That's exactly how millionaires think. They don't run from money that comes from outside, but use it to create more money. The secret is in the mindset. Those who think like the rich don't say, I can't take on debt. They ask, will this debt bring me a return greater than its cost? If the answer is yes, they move forward with strategy, courage, and planning. The lesson is clear. Don't let fear of debt limit your potential. Learn to differentiate what drains money from what multiplies wealth. Every strategic decision today can be the step that transforms your financial future. Those who master this mindset transform challenges into opportunities, difficulties into growth, and risks into freedom. Remember, debt can be the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, but only if you know how to cross it intelligently. Since we were little, we've been taught to follow rules, meet schedules, get good grades, and then get a stable job. This model works to train good employees, but it doesn't create millionaires. That's what Kiyosaki calls conditioning. School conditions us to obey, repeat patterns, and accept limits that don't necessarily serve our financial growth. To build wealth, you need to unlearn habits that limit your vision, question what was taught, and start thinking differently. You need to understand that the path to financial freedom isn't following ready-made recipes, but rather creating unique opportunities and developing skills that will generate income and assets intelligently. Think like this. While most people chase job security, you can be building multiple sources of income, learning about investments, creating businesses, and mastering the language of money. Each step you take outside the standard is a step toward freedom. The most powerful point is that traditional education teaches survival, but financial education teaches prosperity. When you change your mindset, you begin to see opportunities that others ignore, take calculated risks, and transform every challenge into learning and growth. Kiyosaki reminds us that thinking like the rich requires courage and vision. It's not just about making money. It's about creating a lifestyle where you control your financial destiny, make conscious decisions, and don't depend on a salary or a job to live well. The big lesson: don't accept conditioning as the limit of your life. Learn, unlearn, and build paths that only you can create. It's this mindset that transforms ordinary people into successful entrepreneurs and financial visionaries. Throughout this journey, we've seen powerful teachings from Robert Kiyosaki, from understanding that the bank is not your friend and learning the language of money, to using your free time strategically, differentiating good debt from bad debt, and building systems and assets that work for you. Each point is a fundamental piece in the puzzle of financial freedom. What unites all these teachings is simple, but transformative. Money is not the goal, it's the tool. And true wealth isn't in how much you earn, but in how much your money works for you and allows you to make life decisions without limitations. Now is the time to act. It's not enough to just watch, listen, or learn. It's time to put everything into practice. Invest intelligently, create systems, develop assets, study money, plan your time, and use every financial decision to build freedom and security. Every step you take today is a little seed that will flourish in the future. If you apply these concepts consistently, you'll notice something incredible. Money stops being a worry and becomes an ally. You begin to control your destiny, choose the lifestyle you want, and live with autonomy, peace, and prosperity. And I want to know from you, which of these learnings will you put into practice first? If you enjoyed this story and want to receive more content like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Each like and each subscription helps you continue learning to transform your financial life step by step toward true freedom. Remember, wealth begins in the mind, and the next step depends on your action. Start today, invest in yourself, and make your money work for you.